With renewed pressure to start cutting waste in the government, we're learning the biggest challenge might actually be accounting for all the billions these federal agencies are spending. In fact, dozens of agencies did not receive clean audits this year, including the Department of Defense, which has failed every audit for the past 7 years. Joining us now to discuss is the Deputy Public Policy Editor for OpenTheBooks.com, Rachel O'Brien. Good morning to you. Rachel, you know it's absurd there aren't tighter controls on this, especially when you're dealing with taxpayer dollars. Which agencies did not get clean audits, and what are the details of those?
Yeah, so there are 24 agencies that the Office of Management and Budget oversees for their financial management, including modernizing their systems and strengthening their financial reporting. So last year, 18 of those agencies did get clean opinions on their financial statements. Auditors found that there was enough there to sort of pass them, but there were 6 agencies that didn't get clean opinions. So agriculture, energy, and labor each got what they call qualified audit opinions, that there are issues in specific areas, but the problems aren't pervasive. However, DOD did not. They're the worst agency. They, along with the Department of Education and the Small Business Administration, they got what they call disclaimers of opinion, which means that auditors weren't able to even get enough information, sufficient appropriate evidence to even provide an opinion on their financial statements.
What's going on with the DOD? Because they keep failing these audits 7 in a row. Why is this still being allowed?
Yeah, we spoke a few weeks ago about DOD going on a $79 billion spending spree in September. So they were the worst last-minute big spender among federal agencies, and they're also the worst when it comes to passing an audit, and those two may very well be related. So DOD has never passed an audit since these audits began in fiscal year 2018. Auditors found 28 material weaknesses. Just to compare, the next worst agency is SBA. They had 7 weaknesses. Every other agency had 1 or 2 or 3. So we're looking at 28 at DOD. So they are responsible for half of the federal government's discretionary spending. And you know, one of the problems here is that they don't even know what they have. They do not keep track of their assets. They work with a lot of contractors. The contractors do not keep track of their materials and their assets. So that's a big part of the problem.
You mentioned the Department of Education and I believe the Small Business Administration. You said they were put essentially in the same category as the DOD. How bad are they?
Yeah, so they're not nearly as bad. Like I said, SBA is the second worst at 7 material weaknesses, and education, I believe, had 2. So the Department of Education now has failed its 3rd audit in a row. So both education and SBA couldn't get these audit opinions because those financial statements were just in such disarray that auditors couldn't use them. They didn't have the information they needed. They both had errors in their loan programs, SBA and education. Of course, that legal battle over President Biden's student loan forgiveness program, we know that's caused confusion for people. And so that's a big problem. They're not able to properly track their transactions. Can't determine the full extent of their improper payments. And we know that there's been $3 trillion worth of improper payments among federal governments in the last decade. But without this information from these agencies, they're likely not reporting much more in improper payments.
What's being done to remedy this for the future?
Well, so DOD, Congress has required DOD to get a clean audit by 2028. And so, you know, auditors are aggressively retiring what they call non-compliant systems, which they obviously should be doing, and modernizing the DOD's financial management systems to be able to get there in 3 years.
It just sounds so absurd. If this was a private company, it wouldn't be around. I mean, they're giving them an extra 3 more years. They've already failed 7. I mean, this is the absurdity.